Well, good morning, folks. Hey, we're outside here at outside the build here in Tia Maria. So we're here to check on the progress. Haven't been out here in most of the week, to be honest with you. We've been staying away. Weather hasn't been too accommodating, but we've had 2 beautiful days of rain-free weather, and today's a beautiful day. If you look outside, you can see the blue skies, light breeze, sun strong out here, but looks like it's going to be a good day. So let's head on over to the build and check out what's going on. We're on site over here at the build, and we're actually checking out the excavator that's on site. It's over at my neighbor's build. They're actually doing some tear up and some construction leveling here, and they're gonna transfer. They're getting the dirt and everything, trying to get the grade where it needs to be. And you can see that the area that they've been pouring all that concrete on. You can see what a hassle it is. The operator of the excavator is having a tough time breaking all that stuff up. That's from all the months of pouring in one spot has accumulated and causing some big issues as far as moving that around. So you can see the area that it was tore up from around here. I should say leveled out. They're going to take this dirt, put it on a truck, and move it across the street to my build, and use some of this fill dirt for the dirt from Ainsley's build, and they're going to use part of it anyway to fill in some of my the trenches where all the footings are at, because there's not enough dirt and material on my side, so they need to move some of this material onto my property in order to get it to get the grade where it needs to be on his build, and get the additional dirt needed for all the dirt that was removed when they did the formations, when they did the foundation, pouring all my support footings over at my build. Let's head on over to my house and check out what progress is going on. They got a full crew working over there. I can see the mixer going in the background. So, and I always love to see a full crew working, and when you get a beautiful day like today, weather's good for at least another couple hours out here anyway. But we've had 2 good days of rain-free work, so it makes a big difference. I think today they're going to finally be able to finish up all the pouring of the tie beams. Well, let's go check it out, see where they're at. So you can hear all that noise that's going on here at the build, which for me is good news. Right now they're in the process of actually making forms up to finish that final section of the tie beam that we've been struggling with for the last couple of weeks because of the rain. You can see these guys assembly line they got going on over there. You can actually see the concrete mixer in the process right now, making their batch up, putting the cement in, putting the water in, adding sand to it at the same time. Then after they get the mix where they want, they pour it into their mix box, and then it goes into the individual buckets that these guys bring out here, and then they hand off to the crew, and they hoist it up to the top. Let's see if I can get you a better angle. And after this here, after they hoist it to the top, they dump that cement into the forms that have already been laid up, that are already in place, and then they use that air to push the concrete into all the corners and sections of the actual tie beams to get that good flow, that consistent flow across all of them, instead of having those honeycomb sections that you see in a lot of places. So, like I said, they should have all this done, and then they'll transition around to that corner over there and finish that section over there with a on the corner of that office building. Because we've been struggling with this. The weather's been really hampering the build. And you know, like I said, it's that time of year in the Philippines that you never know what to expect, whether you're going to get a lot of rain or a little bit of rain, but it's something that you just have to adjust to when you're out here building. And you got to be flexible. Hopefully you've got the crew that you can keep busy, keep these guys employed, keep them working. These guys all have families, all hard workers. They all earn their money when they want their checks, but you got to have the weather for them to do it. Because if not, you can't bring these guys on and have them sit around all day. It's not a good thing for the homeowner, the builder. You know, so can't go broke in the process either. So you got to find that good that good in between fit for these guys. Try to keep them busy when you can. But on days like today, where the weather is just absolutely beautiful, nice breeze, the sun's very strong out here, so it's going to be a nice day to work, get a lot of progress done, especially with the size crew they got out here. I see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, I see 9, 10 guys at least here in front of me. Most of the time I see around 14, which is really good. And like I said, that's when you see the progress on the work that's done, when you get these guys, this many guys working all at once in uniform. So let's go to the other side of the building and see what's going on. Hope the shot comes out okay. We're at the very back of the build, underneath all these mahogany trees here. So we got a lot of shade in this back section over here. Matter of fact, you can see how some of the leaves are actually touching the scaffolding of the branches. That's all that stuff has got to be trimmed up. We were waiting to have that done. I'm going to bring a crew in and just trim up some of these overhanging trees out here to get them away from the structure itself. Because you got quite a bit of them that are hanging down. So we're currently in search of the tree trimmers. But you can see the backs. You can see the progress on the very back of it. You can see all the columns right now are poured. So I'm really happy for that. That's good to be able to get that out of the way. You can see what a nice job that the columns have turned out. I don't see any honeycombing in them at all. Especially when you do it in multiple pours. That's tough to keep that quality control in place during the whole process. But the beams look really good across the top there, and even the sides. You can see that you don't see big gaps of, when I say honeycombing, the big gaps that have these holes in them that weaken your structures on your columns. And that's a big thing out here. Let's go to the other side, see what it looks like, since I haven't been out here in a while. We've intentionally not come out here because it's tough. I mean, you expect to see progress out here on the build, but you have to tell yourself that be patient, especially when the weather turns bad. Nobody can come out here and work. So, and this part of the build, I'm always saying this, but it's not a very sexy part of the build. It's a kind of a boring when they're putting the concrete hollow blocks in and going from there and just going up. But once they get the foundation done, they'll be able to start. Once they get that filled in, and the foundations are all filled in, and the ground levels all out, and then they can start with the pouring that first or the ground floor, and then after that they can pour that second floor, and then they can put they can start on the getting the roof struts and trusses in place, and then put that roof on. And once that roof's on, you're golden. You're locked in. No more issues. Period. You can work inside and out when the weather permits, but by the time that roof gets on, it will be, the weather should have changed. We should be out of the rainy season. Here's a shot right here. You can see we got a good spot for you. See the whole corner here. And those beams and columns look good too. They really look good here. And after they get through pouring that, the excavator is going to come in all along here they're gonna smooth this section out. They're gonna strive to fill in all this foundation that you see here, all run along the wall, these big holes, and they'll be getting the crew in here. They'll be all hand shoveling in here to fill that the flooring area in, or where the foundation has been excavated, so they could actually build the foundation. So for us, that's awesome. And like I said, they'll put the excavator come in and they'll take care of this whole area. Yeah, I think they're going to have to take this coconut tree down because it's going to be in the way of the fence, and that's a shame too, because I really love the trees out here. That's kind of the thing that gives our build the look out here. It's got that jungle look to it, which is kind of like, to me, it's like mini paradise. But you can see all the mahogany trees in the back, how much they go over the actual build, how much trimming is going to have to be done in order to get that cleaned up. I want to keep as many trees as possible for the shade, and plus the mahogany is beautiful trees. I don't want to damage those. And then possibly this tree over here, this coconut tree over here on this far right next to the mixer, I think I'm going to be able to keep that one. I don't think it's on my property, which is good, because I don't want to, I hate taking these trees out. And they're beautiful. And maybe I might have to get rid of one more on the side over there. I won't know till we get further along in the build here. But anyway, today is a good day at the build site for me. I am so happy that these guys are out here working and pouring and getting this done. They're getting through this ugly part of the build, then they can start actually putting in the stuff that really makes a house a house. Start getting everything prepped. Start putting the serious material in here to make a house, like I say. So you look at Ainsley's across the street, his build, they're already at that sexy part of the build. Let's go see what the excavator's doing right now. By these guys that are working hard. Hello, folks.
Good morning.
Good morning. Hey, it's a little after 7. We're on site here at Tia Maria, and just doing a weather check. Skies are a little overcast. It rained all last night, but still looks like they're going to be able to work today. The crew's coming in from outside the subdivision, and we seen them walking up. So we're going to check on the progress that was here yesterday. We're going to see what they finished up all those all the forms that they were actually building, and hopefully they've got them all poured and they're going to be able to take the forms apart, and we can see our finished product today. So let's head on over to the site and check it out. Again, this is a follow-up from yesterday. You can see where the backhoe or excavator, whatever you want to call that, he's dug this whole center section out here. It was pretty high. They're leveling the ground here to get a good foundation, to be able to start with the rough landscaping on here. They had this big section over here that was where they've been doing the mixing, cement mixing, and it actually turned into a huge chunk of concrete. So they spent a lot of time knocking that out. But he's got that completed. He's got that completed, and he's got the dirt piled up on the side so he can work. And he's got this big pile, and a lot of this dirt, like I said, after they get a good spread on their landscape, their base landscape here, to get the good grade that they need, they'll take the excess material and move it over to my lot over here. Let's check out what's going on my build now. We're hoping that all the concrete that they were doing yesterday, all the pouring, is completed. So the only way to find out is actually either get up on the scaffolding and take a look, or maybe the foreman can advise me on the status, because they haven't pulled the forms out yet because they're still drying. That's my assumption anyway, and I'm hoping that's to be true. So let's head on over to the backside and see if we can get you a better angle and get the answers to my questions anyway. Well, we just talked to the foreman on site here, and he tells us that all the forms are poured, which is fantastic news. So right now they're just they're waiting for the complete forms to dry, because like I said, it did rain last night. So I'm not sure how long they're going to keep those the actual form boxes on before they pull them off and inspect all the ties, the tie beam pours on it. And then after they get the tie beam pours, they're going to work on pulling all the scaffolding out of here, and then they're going to start with the second floor before they fill the foundation in, and then they're going to continue to go up and then start backfilling that foundation in, which will be which again, like we talked about in the past, our goal was to get that roof on as quick as possible, because that eliminates any issues with working here at the house. So let's head around. Gives us more options to be able to work inside. You know, your workers, you can keep a crew working, and you can continue the construction instead of just being dictated by the weather out here. Some days it rains, and some days you know, it's dry. But when it rains 2 and 3 days at a shot, I mean, that kills your momentum. Gets your crew. There's a chance your crew won't come back. So these are all things that out here that you have to, and it's not just here, it's any place, man. You got to keep these guys working, or they'll go find work someplace else. And understand, they got families to feed, bills to pay. You know, they got to put food on that table. So it's the real thing. So let's head on back, see what they've done on the side and the back of the house. Again, I'm very, very happy that they've got all the pours for the house now, and you can take a look at the where the foundation is down here at the house. You can see that it actually rained, but there's nothing standing. There's no standing water out here. The soil in the Philippines is it's amazing, because I mean, all the rain that we get out here, and the house drains toward the back. I mean, the slope is it's higher at the front than it is at the back, so naturally your water is going to go from front to rear. But I do see standing water in one of the other corners where they've had the heaviest amount of drainage. So let's go check it out. Yeah, and here's what I was talking about. That was from last night. You can see the amount of water that's in this foundation pit here. So that'll all come out. That'll all dry up pretty quickly out here. And when they fill it, and they get it leveled off, and they start putting the drains in, that'll eliminate that. Right now the crew's getting ready to fire up the mixer. So it looks like they have that one final section that needs to be poured, and I think that's what they're working on now. Trying to get up on the slope here and see what's going on. I was told that everything was poured, but I see they're getting the air lines ready. They got the mixer fired up, so there must be a small section up here that's not completed. And these guys are bringing the materials right now. They're bringing the actual concrete right now, and they're laying it next to the mixer so they can start putting the concrete, the sand, and their water, and dumping it into that mix box. You can tell the mix box is completely cleaned out, and they'll be filling that up shortly. Okay, the guys have gotten their mix where they want it, and you can see that concrete's pretty dry, which is the way it should be. There's the wife. Hey, sweet. Now they're shoveling the concrete. Let me get you a better shot. They're actually shoveling the concrete into the buckets, and then from the buckets, they're hand carrying them over to the assembly line, and then they hoist them up, and you can see up on top right there Our buckets are heavy, even though they're only half to 3/4 full. We're working away, filling those that last section of beam in, which is awesome. Originally, I thought that the foreman told me they had it all poured, but it wasn't the case. So when they finish this last section on here, man, we'll be good to go. Yes, sweetheart, what's that? It's hard to hear you with your mask on. That's what I was telling them. My wife's informed me that'll be our last pouring. We got our builder just came over from across the street, got his cup of tea. Typical Dave. Got his cup of tea, big cup of tea, and he's heading doing his inspections on both homes. The first thing he does is when he gets on site to see what they did last night, and then gives direction on where they got to go forward. Inspects the concrete mix that he's doing now. Talking to the crew, basically doing what a good builder should be doing every day. He's hands-on, but he's not too much hands-on. He does a lot of inspecting and gives direction, and direction's needed. But he's not heavy-handed as far as letting these guys work. He lets the foreman handle those tasks. This is a good management style. Most of these, the Filipino workers know what they're doing, and they're pretty hard-working guys, so they don't need a lot of direction. They just need to kind of be pointed and initially and given the direction on what to be done for that particular job, and they're pretty good about it. Pretty amazing if you look at all the stuff these guys get done. After seeing the way the work is done in the States, watching them build houses there, everything is done with a pump. Only the finished masons use a hand mix. On most of your construction jobs, everything is done with like I said, a concrete cement pump, and it's a lot faster. But it requires a lot more expense to come out here. But these guys do it in sections, so they can continue to work all the time with their concrete hollow block. They try to keep the masons on doing what they do constantly until they can't use them anymore, unless the masons have the skills to do plastering or some of the other trade work that needs to be done. So that's a specific craft that they have that skill for. And just like your plumbers and your electricians that are on site and needed, you got your masonry guys and your foremans. Foremans are few and far between because you only need one per job. Dave's got four sites running right now that I'm aware of, and he's got a couple more that he's drawing plans for. So he's busy. He's a busy guy right now with a lot of work. So he depends on his foremans and the crew that he's got out here to take care of business. I know that at one time he was looking for more help to be on the job site. He was looking for another engineer to be out here doing the work, actually supervising the work, and making sure that all these walls are correct and the structure is done properly. Just like any place else, man, good men are hard to find. So that pursuit for that engineer continues to go on. Also, we were told that we might be having an inspection by the developer today. I was contacted, and we had asked that they come out in the morning. So we've already had one inspection, and we're looking for our second inspection to come out here. So we're going to see if that comes to fruition later on, if she makes it out here or not on the build. Well, folks, Let's go ahead on. Let's see if we can find something else. Maybe cruise on over to Angie's site, check out his build, and we look at some of the other steps of the work that's been done here too. Because this pour is going to take a little while. Right now they're in the process of pushing that, using that air to push that cement into the low spots of that form, so they get a nice tight form with no honeycombing in it, like the rest of the actual form pours. And you can see that up here. It all looks really good. No honeycombing on them. Good solid pours. Concrete flowed in really good. And again, you can see how thick that concrete is. It doesn't use that watery concrete that a lot of the contractors use out here. That's a big plus. Really adds some strength to your structure. You got to remember the CHP, or the concrete hollow block. They're really not load-bearing. They're not really load-bearing items here. It's the support beams and the columns. Tie beams, columns, and support beams are the ones that actually bear the weight along with your foundation. So that was hard for me to understand, because we've had some comments like, if you look at that window over there, we've had some comments about, oh, you shouldn't be using wood here for the termites, and that's absolutely correct. You don't want to put wood. If you can stop from using wood out here in the Philippines, that's the best thing you can do. But that wood is just temporary. You need those supports in there to pour that CHP, to keep that CHP in block. But eventually that's going to be taken out, and your window frame will support that. I mean, your frames on your windows are made out of are going to be made out of mahogany, but you can't help that. You got to, unless you put like a PVC type frame holding in there. But a lot of the woods, a lot of your door frames are made out of mahogany, which is termite resistant, which is the next best thing. But if you can avoid wood altogether, it's the way to go. Like I said, those are all the stuff you see in the CHP now is temporary, and it will be knocked out, along with some of the windows that will be cleaned up, and like the one over there. You can't hardly see it, but in the kitchen, that small window is going to be quite a bit bigger. It's going to be knocked out and brought down and widened. And the reason for that is they do that so they can go up with a concrete hollow block. And since we don't have windows on site, obviously they're going to be manufactured later on. So we'll continue to keep you updated on those. Matter of fact, I have to go and start looking for windows soon. Dave's already ordered windows for 4 builds that he's doing now in one of the cities, I think Alabang. He found a shop down there that he really liked. So we're going to check that out ourselves. We're going to head down there in a couple weeks, and we got to do our shopping as well. But I'm kind of lucky. I get to see how these other builds are coming out. Their windows, whether I like them or I don't like them, because I've got my choice of the aluminum windows, or you can use out of that PVC material. Again, those windows are there, and also the quality of the windows themselves and the coating that's done. They're anywhere from the single glaze to dual pane to even a triple pane window. And obviously the more panes that you get involved and the more high quality the glass is, the more expense comes in with them, because you can spend a lot of money on windows and doors out here, a lot of money, very quickly too. So you got to watch your line items on your build and stay within your budget, because there's a big difference between want and need. And I get that phrase I'm stealing that phrase from my neighbor Ainsley, who's constantly talking about that, because it's the difference between what we want and what we need, and what our budget can handle too. If you got tons of money and money's not an object, and there's all kinds of stuff you can do. There's no end to the quality of the build you can get.